Shalom. Kohalo Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim HaKodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us this truth. And shalom and salutations to all the brothers pushing the word in truth and in sincerity. The hopeful elect tabernacle of David. The brother Yashawan back with a quick lesson. All right. And what I have to do is I got to be very careful. So I'm going to talk very little. I'm going to bring out the scripts, just a couple, and then I'm going to show a couple of videos because here we go again. All right. They're building a case. Okay. I'm not going to give my opinion one way or the other, but you know through the Spirit what is being said. All right. So 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan, the adversary, should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So let's take a look at his current device, and this is going on now. All right. And it's Fox News, February 1st. That's yesterday. All right. And this goes to building the case. Whoopi Goldberg suspended from The View. Breaking news. Why? All right. What is her last name?
A Fox News alert, the president of ABC has now announced that Whoopi Goldberg has been suspended for 2 weeks from The View. Laura Trump is sticking with us on this particular issue. Let's get your initial reaction. I know Whoopi. I'll go to my points in a second. I want to get your initial reaction, Laura.
Well, I heard you at the top of the show, Sean, say that you didn't believe that, she should be suspended. And we know what the calls would be if the shoe were on the other foot. If it was somebody on Fox News, for example, who had said something like this, every media outlet out there, every Democrat out there would be calling for their suspension. But you know what? I think you were very kind to say that. It is nice to see that people are taking this seriously because, look, Whoopi Goldberg is a very influential person. She reaches millions of people every single day. What she said was flat out wrong. It sounded, maybe she didn't intend it to sound this way, very anti-Semitic and very hateful. And so although she came out and corrected herself and apologized, I think it's nice for once to see that perhaps a step has been taken by an outlet that we know otherwise kind of lets people get away with these things if they agree with them politically. So interesting to see this outcome, and quite frankly, I'm happy to see them taking some sort of action.
And let's get your take. Joe Contra back with us. This breaking news. ABC, if you missed it, just suspended Whoopi Goldberg over her comments on the Holocaust. Look, I've done this my whole career, Joe, and people have pressured me, and some people get angry with me. Hannity, you know that they would do that to any conservative. Why do you not support boycotts? Why do you never call for cancellation or firing? I said, well, I think her apology is sincere. I think she's learned a lot in the process. If 2 weeks off is the penalty, it's better than being canceled. And I have just a reflexive reaction to cancel because I don't like what somebody says. Because you don't have to watch The View. I hate to tell you, I don't watch The View. Reaction.
I'm not surprised you don't watch The View. Look, you've been very consistent on this, Sean. The transcripts show it, that you never call for anybody to be canceled, that in the past you've always said that people deserve second chances. I think that this is a good compromise in terms of what you're calling for and what others are calling for in terms of Whoopi Goldberg being outright fired, right? Because a suspension, at least there's accountability for her words that offended so many people. I mean, the backlash on this has been incredible. It should be noted that Whoopi Goldberg, she re-signed with ABC just a few months ago, 4-year deal, goes into 7 figures. So there's a business aspect to this in terms of not firing her. But staffers were particularly upset about those comments. They felt they were bad enough. And then her explanation on Colbert last night what made things even worse. So, look, it should be underscored. The one quote that she had that I think really ticked people off is, "This is white people doing it to white people." So this is you all go Fight amongst yourselves. I mean, on a program where some truly craptastic things are said, this actually stands out. And Whoopi said this isn't about race. I mean, well, this was Hitler's entire insidious argument, right? Germanic people are superior, Jews are an inferior race, therefore justified genocide, 6 million people systematically murdered. So ABC, I think, makes the right move here. Suspend her for 2 weeks, show people that you care, that words do have consequences. Whoopi comes back, and maybe she is better for it. And it should be noted, by the way, also, Sean, that The View in 25 years, and having dozens upon dozens of hosts, have had exactly 2 Jewish co-hosts and not 1 in 6 years. Just saying.
You know, I look at this whole controversy, though, and then you can bring Joe Rogan back into it, Laura. And in the case of Joe Rogan, I don't think he should have apologized. Joe Rogan made a decision with his doctor on how to treat COVID-19 when he contracted the virus. Okay, he threw everything they had at it. Monoclonals, HCQ, ivermectin, that was him, between him and his doctor. He gets the crap beat out of him. Then he interviews the guy that was pivotal in creating the mRNA technology that led to the Pfizer Moderna vaccines that every liberal loves, but he would use it. It would be more restrictive in its use for older people, people with comorbidities, obesity, etc. Okay, that's one doctor's opinion, and people want to shut him down, call it disinformation. Has there anybody that has given more false information than Fauci, than Biden, than Jen Psaki, than Walensky, than the CDC, than the NIH? Because they're the biggest misinformers in this entire pandemic.
Well, and that's why no one trusts them at this point. You know, it used to be in America that people came to the table. There was a place for public discourse where you could share ideas and you didn't have to always agree with someone's idea, but or their thought or their opinion about things, but at least you got to hear that, and perhaps it got you to think a little bit. And you know what? I agree with you. I don't think Joe Rogan should have apologized at all. I don't know that he did anything wrong. And to your point, this was a doctor on there, a guy that was very pivotal in developing these vaccines and has a lot of knowledge of this subject. So if you're putting a lot of weight in someone like Dr. Fauci, who has proven himself time and time and time again to be wrong about just about everything, why can't Joe Rogan have someone on his show and just let this guy share his opinion? There should be no reason we have to have disclaimers. My gosh, there's disclaimers on everything in life now, so much so that no one even pays attention to them anymore. It's absolutely pointless. But it would be nice.
Here's my disclaimer. I have no opinion on this situation. I'm just playing the news. That's all. All right.
We could get back to a place where everyone could equally
For educational purposes.
share their opinion, no matter their political views, no matter what you think or you don't know what their political view is. That's what America is all about.
Let's go back and play Whoopi's original comments on The View that led to this suspension just announced. Okay. Oh, hang
I
on.
feel, being black, when we talk about race, it's a very different thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I said that I felt that the Holocaust wasn't about race. And people got very, very, very angry and still are angry. I mean, I'm getting, you know, all of the mail from folks, and they're very real anger because people feel very differently. But I thought it was a salient discussion because as a black person, I think of race as being something that I can see. So I see you and I know what race you are.
Okay.
This
I played this before and it showed the commercial at approximately the same time.
Let's be truthful about it, because the Holocaust isn't about race. No, it's not about
maybe
race.
ethnicity.
Yeah, they
No,
consider
it's
Jews
about
a different race.
But it's not about race. It's not about
What
race.
is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man. That's what it's about.
But it's about white supremacy. It's
Well,
about
but
going
it's
after
not- it's
Jews
not about
and
race.
gypsies and
But these are two
Roma.
white groups of people.
Well, that's
How do
what
we
they have to black
We
people
just see
too.
them as white
And
men.
then
But
they're
you're missing the
homosexuals.
point. You're
Yeah.
missing the point.
Yeah.
The minute you turn it into race, it goes down this alley.
You know, Joe, as I watched first, I thought it was very inarticulate, the appearance on Colbert. It was
Good enough. All right. So again, I'm not going to say anything. All right. I mean, but we know what we're watching here. So we're going to watch a couple of these. We're going to go to this 2 years ago. All right. What's going on here? This is hitting the news. All right. This is the news.
And so,
Slovakia. All right. This is December 11th, 2019. Jersey shooting suspects believed to follow this. Okay, so, all right. And we'll see a pattern here. Okay.
The killers, 47-year-old ex-con David Anderson and 50-year-old Francine Graham. Anderson with a criminal record and time in prison, and cops now investigating whether he posted anti-police and anti-Semitic sentiments. Investigative reporter Dan Croft here with that part of our coverage. Dan.
Bill, federal investigators are saying this was a targeted attack, but they're still searching for a motive and into the backgrounds of those two suspects. And so are we. Shocking images, not only for those in the community, but those who knew the suspects killed in the shootout.
This is heartbreaking to me. This is something I will never dream in a million years.
Police say 47-year-old David Anderson was in the driver's seat of the truck and walked first into the store. He is no stranger to law enforcement. Numerous mugshots from numerous run-ins with police. Records show he spent more than 2 years in a New Jersey prison on gun charges, released in 2014. Police say the other suspect, 50-year-old Francine Graham, was in the passenger seat and walked in behind him.
Francine? I would never imagine that.
A neighbor who has known the Graham family for decades says she's struggling to figure out why police say Graham was involved.
Francine was a very nice person, and from speaking to her over the years, she always had a steady mind frame of everything that she went to college.
Graham's from Harlem, but lived most recently here in an apartment in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Neighbors tell us she used to work as a home health care worker, would see her often with Anderson, and that her personality changed over the past year.
But when she met David, it was a transition between like a friendly person to a not communicating person.
A big change there. Law enforcement officials say Anderson had made anti-Semitic and anti-police posts on social media in the past, but haven't made a connection yet between those posts and yesterday's shooting.
All right, there we go. Let's get another one. Okay. And these are all different. Let's see. This one here. Let's go here.
A celebration on the 7th night of Hanukkah erupted into chaos.
Okay, this is New York Hanukkah attack, December 29th, 2019. That's right about the same time as the other one. This is totally different, though. All right? Building a case.
Dozens of people of all ages ran for their lives as a man armed with a knife entered a New York State rabbi's home and began attacking attendees. 5 people were stabbed.
He took out his knife sword from a holder and started hitting people back and forth. He didn't say anything. He screamed after me when they came out here. He screamed after me, "Hey you, I'll get you."
Joseph Gluck managed to get the suspect's license plate number.
Why'd you do it?
Police arrested 37-year-old Grafton Thomas in New York City 2 hours later.
Do you feel any remorse?
He appeared in court today, pleading not guilty to 5 counts of attempted murder. New York's governor visited the crime scene and promised justice.
This is an act of terrorism. I think these are domestic terrorists. They are trying to inflict fear. They're motivated by hate.
This incident, part of a wave of anti-Semitic attacks targeting Jewish people in the New York City area during Hanukkah week. Surveillance videos recorded a group of men approaching a 56-year-old Jewish man in Brooklyn December 24th, punching him in the back of the head. The deadliest assault earlier this month in Jersey City, New Jersey, near New York City, when a pair of assailants attacked a kosher grocery store, killing 3 civilians and a police officer.
Nobody thinks it can happen in your hometown. Nobody thinks it can happen in your home county or your city. Well, people, it happened, and it happened here.
The Anti-Defamation League says the U.S. is now on track to record another year with a historically high number of anti-Semitic incidents, close to 800 reported by mid-year. 2017 was the worst year in modern history, with nearly 2,000 cases reported. New York police are now deploying more officers to Jewish houses of worship in various communities throughout the state as Jewish people remain on high alert. Jennifer Johnson.
All right. Let's see more. Let's see. Now we'll go to Nick Sandman. Okay, we all remember this.
At Aspen Dental, we...
Right. Of course, they're going to use all of this cumulatively.
Gathering of Black Hebrew Israelites, a religion. On Friday, January 18th, 3 groups of people converged on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. A small gathering of Black Hebrew Israelites, a religious activist group that believes African Americans are God's chosen people, students from Covington Catholic High School in Kentucky for the March for Life, and people attending the Indigenous Peoples March. A video showing a confrontation between the high school students, including junior Nick Sandman, and an Omaha elder Nathan Phillips went viral and sparked outrage. Phillips told the Post his version of the incident on the afternoon of January 20th. Later that evening, Sandman released a public statement giving his account. This video presents both of their versions and multiple video angles of the incident.
There's this group called Black Israelites, I think they are. So they're down there, and they set up right on the edge of our permitted area. And when I first seen them, it did remind me of a group called the Westboro Baptist Church. So that's what these guys reminded me of. You know, it's just a different perspective, but still the same line of rhetoric. So when these young people were saying, took offense, where was that supervisor? And we're just there trying to get out, be done. But then it starts escalating after about an hour, over an hour, it escalates and escalates and escalates. There's a young kid out there that went out there stripped down to his waist, naked, you know, out there doing the power moves. And then they started doing unified chants, and they were like edging closer to these guys. And these 4 Black Israelites, they weren't going to give up no ground.
Video shows Phillips approaching the students, who had gathered on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. It is unclear in videos if the students moved closer to the Black Hebrew Israelites, but Phillips told the Post he was trying to diffuse the tension.
I was surrounded. We were surrounded. No matter which way we went, we would have to go through that mob. So since I was moving forward, I continued to move forward. And I took that step, and they started moving back. They didn't break their circle, but they started moving back. So I took another step, and they moved back some more. And I took another step, and they moved back. And then they started breaking apart, and I said, okay, I'm going to make my way out of here. I'm just going to go up there to the top of the Capitol, or to the Lincoln Memorial. I'm going to finish my prayer up there. When that young man blocked my retreat, you know, decided to stand in front of me when I was trying to make my way out of there, he put himself in front of me. So I stopped, and I thought, okay, I'm going to take another step, but he wouldn't move. I took another step, he wouldn't move.
After the Post interviewed Phillips, Sandman released a public statement giving his account of the incident. He said the Black Hebrew Israelites called us racists, bigots, white crackers, faggots, and incest kids, and taunted a fellow African-American student.
A bunch of incest babies.
He said the students responded by asking a teacher chaperone for permission to perform school spirit chants to counter the insults. He said at no time did he hear students chant "Build that wall" or anything hateful. Sandman said Phillips locked eyes with him and came within inches of his face. He said he believed that by remaining motionless, he could defuse the situation. Sandman also said a member of Phillips's group began yelling at a student. He motioned to his classmate to stop engaging. Sandman also said Phillips did not attempt to go around him, and that he felt singled out. Sandman continued that he was not intentionally making faces at the protester. He said he smiled, but did this to show he was not going to become angry. He said that both he and his parents have been receiving death threats since the video went viral. Aaron Patrick O'Connor, The Washington Post.
We all remember that. See how this thing is being put together? Cumulatively. Okay, now we'll go to the driving incident. I know this is long, but we'll see how it goes.
We face horror and tragedy
Start here.
in which
Slovakia. Start at the top.
We're going to begin with new details this morning in that Christmas parade tragedy in Wisconsin. We are learning more about the victim.
Okay, let's get the. This was November 23rd, 2021. This is a couple of months ago. Okay. Thanksgiving that they called it
And the suspect,
they called it a Christmas parade.
who will make his first court appearance later today. Alex Perez is there live on the scene for us with the latest. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, good morning, Robin. Yeah, we're learning more about the suspect, but we're also learning a lot more about the many people who bravely stepped forward to help as this nightmare unfolded. This morning, authorities have identified the man they say is responsible for killing 5 people during a Christmas parade.
Maroon Ford Escape and blue heading into the parade road.
Police say Daryl Brooks plowed this maroon SUV through a crowd of parade participants and onlookers in Waukesha, Wisconsin Sunday, injuring more than 40 people, including 18 children, 6 still in critical condition. Brooks now charged with 5 counts of first-degree intentional homicide. Overnight, a vigil in Waukesha for the victims, side-by-side community members coming together to grieve. 3 of the women killed were members of the Dancing Grannies, ranging in age from 52 to 81 years old. The youngest, Tamara Durand, was dancing with the group for the first time. Her husband remembering her as a vibrant, loving, and warm woman who we all miss deeply already. The Dancing Grannies put out this statement: "Our group was doing what they loved, performing in front of crowds and a parade, putting smiles on faces of all ages, filling them with joy and happiness."
our community faced horror and tragedy in what should have been a community celebration.
And police say this isn't the first time Brooks is accused of using a car as a weapon. Earlier this month, he was arrested for allegedly using what appears to be that same SUV to run over the mother of his child, after allegedly striking her with a closed fist. Brooks was charged in that incident but released when he posted bail $1,000. The mayhem caught on camera, showing the instant the holiday cheer turned to chaos. This video showing the SUV swerving ahead of a marching band before speeding up. Here, you can see people scrambling to move out of its path from above.
That was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Dan Schneiderman's record shop is on the parade route. About 60 people ran in to seek refuge.
There were parents who were pushing their children underneath my record racks to keep them safe. I literally saw roughly 10 people bounce off that car, and you could hear thud, 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 thud as he drove through that. And you could hear it, which is a sound I'll never forget.
Ryan Conkey's niece was with her dance group that was part of the parade when the SUV struck her.
Jesselyn is still fighting for her life. She took direct impact from the car. I feel like she's going to fight no matter what. And right now we're just looking towards the positive.
So many people still dealing with the trauma of all this. Brooks is set to make his initial appearance in court late this afternoon. Michael?
All right. So I could have got one that was more informative. Okay, I think there's one more. Let me see. That was... was that the last one? Okay, we started with the last first. Okay, so... All right, yeah. All right, so we see what's going on. Let's get a couple of precepts and we'll go ahead. This is Matthew 5 and 11. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my name's sake. for my sake. Okay? Blessed are ye. Okay? Not for what they said went on, but when you understand what is going on, okay? This is the book of Habakkuk. Let's get this here. I'll go to 6. Ooh, what is it? Did I get the right one? Yep. 1 and 6. Is it Habakkuk? No, it's damn. It's Obadiah. Salakia. Obadiah 1 and 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Okay. Let's get one more. We'll close it. This is Revelation 12. All right. This guy, he's got to launch his tirade. That's what he's doing right now. They're going to sew this thing together. All right. Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil has come down to you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. All right, so there you have it. Keep your eyes open. This thing is about to get deep, and with that, we're going to say that we hope that the elect are edified, and with that, we can say shalom.